Picture this. You're browsing the internet when you come across a profile of what seems to be a normal teenage athlete. High school wrestler, football player, and loves working out. And he's quite active online too. Thousands of people have interacted with this person over the years. There's just one problem. This person doesn't actually exist. What I'm about to show you is one of the most chilling cases of long-term identity theft and possibly some sort of dysphoria or potentially even a mental illness that I've ever encountered online. The profile in question might as well seem legitimate at first glance. A high school senior claiming to be into wrestling and weightlifting, with a muscular physique to match. Countless posts about fitness and bodybuilding scattered throughout websites such as Quora, questions about gaming posted on Reddit, and a playlist of wrestling videos on YouTube. You can also find some more emotionally charged posts featuring this supposed young man sharing his struggles of being gay in high school and having to fight off his bullies and protect other LGBT members in his school. These details alone might not stand out too much, at least not until you notice that some of these comments or posts date back as far as 17 years ago, meaning that the person behind this is definitely not a teenager, at least not anymore. Also, Wrestlerstudmuffin seems to have a lot of knowledge about colleges and higher education in general, and apparently has some experience in STEM, which suggests that he most likely finished college himself. Further, if you do a reverse image search of the current profile picture associated with all of these accounts, what you discover is that it is actually an image of a random professional bodybuilder from years earlier. By now, it is obvious that the owner of these accounts is actually an adult, and is pretending to be a high school senior for whatever reason he may have. And the more you look into it, the clearer it gets that he might have some pretty disturbing motives. If you look through Wrestlerstudmuffin's Quora account, you can find that this person has not only joined, but has been recently active in groups specifically targeted at teenagers, often discussing topics such as high school sports, studying, and even supporting others through personal or relationship problems. The fact that this adult man has infiltrated these spaces for teens already raises quite a lot of questions in itself. However, the fact that he is also deliberately lying about his age and identity is even more concerning, especially considering the fact that some of the posts or comments Wrestlerstudmuffin has engaged in are quite suggestive or inappropriate to say the least. This man also appears to have a bizarre fixation on muscles, walking around shirtless and wearing short shorts, mentioning how he thinks that younger guys usually want to go shirtless to show off their muscles and good looks, and how athletic young men, him apparently included, should choose to wear short shorts more often to emphasize their muscular thighs. He even goes as far as to play out these fantasies of his in his Sims 3 world, designing all of his characters as young muscular men wearing nothing but shorts. However, it gets even more disturbing knowing that this man has seemingly tried to chat up other potentially vulnerable and unsuspecting users in light of these strange obsessions. He has replied to multiple posts in these teenage threads, with some of them even touching upon NSFW topics. He usually asks questions, gives out suggestive compliments, or sometimes even invites the authors of the post, who usually explicitly state that they are teens, to message him privately. Knowing that the man behind this profile is not who he actually claims to be makes this not only incredibly creepy, but potentially dangerous for anyone who comes into contact with him too, as it is clear that he is actively trying to connect and chat with the people in these groups. even going as far as calling people out for blocking him. Yet another creepy detail about him comes from his YouTube channel, specifically the playlist that he has curated over the past 2 decades. The first few videos in this playlist feature wrestling matches and seem relatively normal. However, as you continue scrolling, you notice how the content that he has saved becomes strange. There are multiple videos related to urinating, and one video featuring what seems to be a comical scene from some sort of show or movie, where a mother accidentally catches her son seemingly in his room. There are also videos featuring young men kicking or hitting each other in the crotch area, under one of which Wrestlerstudmuffin actually left some pretty weird comments, describing how he also plays this game with his friends and explaining how it is more fun to play it if your bladder is full. Now, you might think that perhaps he just found these videos funny, but the fact that this is the only type of content that he has saved, and that he has talked about urinary retention and on other platforms as well, seems to point out that this isn't that innocent, and that this is most likely a fetish or yet another bizarre fixation of his. Something that leads to even more concern, however, is the fact that his YouTube playlist also contains 8 hidden and unavailable videos, leaving you to wonder what kind of disturbing content that could have been. Moreover, his Reddit account is also suspended for whatever reason, suggesting that he has probably partaken in something inappropriate or dangerous beforehand. In the end, what is most disturbing about this case is how this account continues to operate up until today. The person behind it clearly has some sort of mental or emotional issues, perhaps even body or age dysphoria, but that doesn't excuse this sort of predatory behavior in any way. Posing as a teen in order to attract other teens or young men is extremely wrong and creepy. And the fact that the websites like Quora has not caught onto this, even after years of obvious contradiction and weird behavior, is beyond unsettling, raising questions about the safety of such internet sites altogether. Mariejeanneclaude is a mysterious Instagram account with hundreds of posts featuring nothing but abstract geometric patterns and shapes, random symbols, and blurred out faces. It's eerie, to say the least. However, if you look through the account more carefully, you notice it only follows one account, Knalb Latot. Upon clicking on it, you find nothing. Quite literally nothing. There are exactly 72 posts, and each and every one of them is just a white background. No captions, no further details, just white. But this isn't the end of it. This account follows yet another account. You quickly notice that there is a loop here. Each account follows exactly one other account, leading you down a seemingly endless rabbit hole of a total of 25 separate profiles. These profiles themselves are almost identical in structure. All of them post similar types of content, geometric shapes and abstract patterns, all rendered in blues and whites. Notably, some of these accounts also have cryptid messages or titles hidden in the usernames themselves. Almost all of the account names, read in reverse, spell out words or sentences in French, all with different meanings and quite vague translations. Naturally, as these accounts attracted more attention, several discussions across the internet have been popping up, with people desperately trying to decipher the meaning of these accounts. At first glance, all of this may look random, but the precision and the extent to which this is taken suggests otherwise. One common speculation online was that all of these strange posts are some sort of steganography, the practice of hiding data within images. If you change the last bit of each pixel's color data, you can embed entire sentences, pictures, and even videos within what appears to be a simple geometric pattern or shape. And the author of these accounts could be doing this for multiple different reasons. For example, AI training, artistic expression, or even storing their data or some sort of documents without paying for server space. However, there is also the possibility that there is something far more disturbing hiding behind these images. As you can imagine, steganography can be and is sometimes used for nefarious purposes, including distributing illegal and harmful material, as well as sharing information about connecting to and accessing various illegal trafficking rings. The people who first raised attention to this strange network have also pointed out how they have found these accounts to be affiliated with and other potentially predatory accounts, and that some of the translations of the usernames are quite disturbing. Furthermore, one of the profiles also has some questionable highlights, with one featuring a video taken from what appears to be the front seat of a car, capturing an unsuspecting family with children getting inside of their vehicle on the other side of the glass. This, together with the previous speculations, raises some serious concerns about what might actually be going on behind these bizarre profiles, and some internet users have even considered reporting them to Interpol or the French police. However, after getting some more insight from one of the Reddit comments, as well as looking into the situation more myself, it is thankfully very likely that what we see here is actually way less unsettling than previously thought. The most realistic scenario here is that all of this is simply an abstract art project run by a French artist going by the name Papy Camion. Papy Camion is a relatively known individual in Paris, mostly famous for his unusually decorated truck, in which he drives around and supposedly even lives in. He seems to be a helpful and genuine personality, with most people on the internet speaking extremely kindly of him, even mentioning how he has helped them move or offered to drive them somewhere. If you look at the older posts from what appears to be the central account, you can find countless pictures and videos featuring the famously known truck. His accounts are also followed by other artists and even legitimate art magazines or blogs, as well as photography businesses. In some instances, the man even interacts with his commenters, answering their questions or making remarks. Under one specific post, an Instagram user even directly asked whether this is really Papy Camion, to which the man replied saying yes, further confirming his identity. Most of the other older pictures also seem quite normal, featuring his dog, the truck's interior, as well as some art and collectibles. There's even a post that features the same eerie video that the account has also posted up as a highlight, with a comment from somebody pointing out how they would also want the same thing for their car. This comment, alongside the context and background of the kind of person that Papy Camion appears to be, really flips the whole narrative of this video. Knowing that the creator loves collecting strange and fun souvenirs and decor for his vehicle, the focus of this post was most likely the bobblehead toy on his dashboard, not the family that can be seen in the background. However, there are still the claims that he supposedly liked all of the posts from the extremely disturbing account. Due to the fact that the account itself and the subreddit dedicated to investigating it have both been suspended, I couldn't find a way to neither confirm nor deny this. But considering Papy Camion's good reputation, this allegation turning out to be true would certainly be both unexpected and unsettling. In the end, There is still no evidence suggesting that these accounts are actually malicious in any way, but some recent comments on Papi's account have been urging him to respond to this controversy. So perhaps we might receive an answer sometime in the future. Imagine yourself scrolling through Instagram when you see a wedding photo, a smiling couple dressed in bright Indian attire, together hand in hand. However, you can't help but feel that something here is wrong. The images seem artificial, and that's because they are artificial. The man in the photo is Rishabh Mangal, and what you're seeing isn't a wedding photo shoot. It's a disturbing illusion. An illusion he has carefully crafted around one specific woman, Simran Khalsi. Simran is a real person and is a social media influencer who actively posts on both YouTube and Instagram. She has her own life and is even married. But to Rishabh, none of that seemingly matters. Across his multiple Instagram accounts, he's built an entire fake relationship with her, one that she has never acknowledged or consented to. He lists her as his girlfriend in his profile bios, and sometimes even refers to himself as her future husband. He tags her in romantic posts. He uses real photos of her and photoshops himself beside her, even going as far as matching her outfits. Some posts are even more disturbing, featuring AI-generated images of them holding hands, the aforementioned wedding photos, and heavily edited videos showing them in engagement ceremonies that never actually took place. In some of his posts, he even goes on to narrate scenarios where he's rejected, only to later reassure himself that Simran still loves him. All of these details together reveal one disturbing truth. This is not an ordinary fan account. What we see here is a seriously deluded and sickly obsessed man. A man who seriously thinks that these parasocial feelings that he has formed are mutual. He even includes direct links to her official account in an attempt to prove to his audience, or perhaps even to himself, that this non-existent relationship is somehow authentic. What makes this truly creepy is that all of this could easily escalate into something more disturbing and dangerous. It is already clear that this man does not know any limits, and this could quickly become a case of real-life stalking or harassment at any given time. It is still unclear whether any action has been or will be taken against this creepy man and the associated accounts. However, what we can wish for is that Simran and her family stay strong and safe in light of these disturbing events, and that the accounts, alongside all the disturbing posts, will eventually get deleted in the near future. You're watching some videos late at night and come across something that makes your blood run cold. The profile features a man standing in what appears to be a cemetery, and as you scroll through his posts, you see something absolutely horrifying. Videos and images of open caskets, human remains. You soon realize what you are seeing is someone possibly desecrating graves. This is the account of Wellington Jose, an Instagram profile that initially appears to show one of the most disturbing, immoral, and potentially illegal activities you could imagine finding on social media. At first glance, the content is genuinely shocking. Video after video shows open burial sites, exposed bones, and tethered personal belongings. The imagery is graphic, unsettling, and would understandably cause most of the viewers to feel disturbed and potentially report the account immediately. But here's where it all takes an unexpected turn. What would logically be assumed to be grave desecration is actually something completely different and, surprisingly, completely legal. Wellington Jose isn't a grave robber or someone engaging in illegal activities. He's a professional gravedigger working in Brazil, where cemetery practices operate very differently than what many of us might expect. In his bio, written in Portuguese, Wellington describes himself as a digital creator who works as a gravedigger and asks people to follow his day-to-day work at the cemetery, hoping that people will like his content. So what seemed sinister at first glance is actually nothing but a man documenting and sharing videos of his legitimate profession. In many Latin American countries, including Brazil, cemetery plots are often rented rather than purchased permanently. If families can no longer afford to pay rent on a burial site, or when a significant amount of time has passed, cemetery workers like Wellington are tasked with exhuming the remains to make room for new burials. This is a standard legal practice that's part of how cemeteries manage limited space in these densely populated areas. However, it is still undeniable that the account remains quite creepy and arguably disturbing. Even though the owner of this account is just doing his job, the fact that he chooses to record it and post it online could be seen as questionable in regards to respect for the dead, especially when some of the videos even feature the gravestones, which reveal the name and date of birth of the person buried there.